everyone. Today for our gymnastics, we're going to be working on the muscle up. So now, muscle up is a very technical skill, very advanced gymnastic skill. So if you're there working on that, hats off to you. But if we're not there yet, then we need to build a foundation before we get there. So my recommendation is if you don't have kipping pull-ups, 3 sets of 10. If you're unable to do 3 sets of 10 kipping pull-ups and unable to do 3 sets of 10 strict or kipping ring dips, I would recommend starting there. You can't do a muscle up without a pull-up, and you can't, even if you get into a muscle up, you can't dip out if you don't have a dip. Okay, so we need to make sure we're working on that foundation. So my recommendation to you, if this is you, go back to Monday and Tuesday's workouts and try to repeat the pull-ups and the dips and practice that. There's no harm in doing pull-ups and dips twice in a week, 3 sets for 10 reps. So moving on to muscle up, okay, this is going to be with the assumption of you need to work on your technique, refine your technique. If you have muscle ups, maybe you can string 1 muscle up or maybe 2 or 3 muscle ups in a row. Or even if you're working on that first muscle up, you have the 3 sets of 10 pull-ups, you have the 3 sets of 10 dips, but you don't have that first muscle up yet. Now we're just going to work on transition. So here we're just going to work from the ground and work on, I'm going to show you how to do a couple of practice with the rings. I'm going to show you a couple of practice drills that you can do with an assisted bar. You can also do this setup by getting a pull-up bar and stacking some boxes, okay? So I'll show you a few of that. Really today is really just working on the actual transition from that pull-up into that muscle up into that dip position. So for the rings are going to be a little bit different than the bar, but very, very similar, and I'll show you both. The first thing with the ring is we want to make sure we get into a false grip. So the false grip, all right, you have your ring. I want to imagine that we're looking at a clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, okay? And what you're going to do is you're putting your hand in between 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Once you do that, you're locking your wrist in there, okay? You're trying to get this portion of your wrist in the ring. If you don't have this portion of your wrist in the ring, it's gonna be very hard to transition into that dip. A lot of people I see have the rings here. They start to pull. They have a great kipping swing with the rings. They pull and they just can't get over. Okay, they're just like, I can't get into the dip position. It's because you don't have your wrist in there, and it's gonna hurt. It's gonna give you blisters, but blisters today, muscle ups tomorrow. Okay. So get your wrist in that groove and hold on to that false grip. The very basic thing you want to do is start off with some false grip ring rows if you're not familiar with the false grip. So you can do that exactly how you did ring rows with your pull-ups. So you get your false grip, your pinkies should be, your knuckles and pinkies should be facing each other, and you're going to pull the rings like this. We're going to do 3 sets of 10. All right, so we're going to go on our heels, and we're going to do those false grip ring rows right to the bottom of our chest. When you're doing that, okay, the more underneath you get, the harder it's going to be. So you're just going to continue to go underneath until you feel comfortable with that false grip. Once you're good with that false grip, then we can start to transition. With the bar, you don't need to worry about a false grip, so we're not going to do any bar rows because it's just a pull-up. We're really going to focus on the transition piece. So this is going to be step 2 with the rings, step 1 really with the bar, but it's step 2. So next step is to pull the rings. Okay, we're going to use leg support. Everything's going to be supported with our legs. Pull the rings to our chest, and then from here we're going to take our pinkies, and while having that false grip, we're going to draw a circle underneath our chest. You want to get this high when you get into that false grip. And we're going to start to be in that back extension and then crunch on over into that hollow position. And once you take your pinkies and draw a line underneath your chest, you should be in the bottom of that dip position, okay? And then from there, we'll just hold that position. Now this is slow and steady. You want to make sure you're going through this whole progression with a tempo. You're not just going to pull the rings and get your chest over. That's not the point. I want to create some muscle memory in these positions, so take it nice and slow. So you're going to get into a little bit of a squat. From here, you're going to pull the rings up to your chest, okay? And then you're going to rotate underneath and then see the ground. I always tell people, see the sky, see the ground, pray to God, see the devil, however you want to say it. You're looking up once you're pulling into that back extension. Get into that hollow position, look at the ground. So once again, we're gonna pull right up to our chest, seeing the sky, circle around underneath, seeing the ground, getting into that dip position. Okay? Then the next thing, once you work on that transition, everything's gonna be 3 sets of 10. You wanna go from transition to support. So you wanna support yourself in that dip position. So this is the reason why we need to make sure that we have 3 sets of 10 ring dips, because when you do your muscle up, you're gonna be very deep into that dip. You're gonna need to press out into that position, okay? So we wanna start to support ourselves there. So you're gonna do your ring row, or your false grip ring row, your false grip muscle up. You're gonna pull up to your chest, rotate underneath, pick your feet up, now you're in support. You can even take a step further and do your dip from that position. For the bar, it's gonna be a little more dynamic, but still take your time with this. And again, you can set yourself up, and I'm not gonna do that here because you wouldn't be able to see me, but you can set yourself up with a box, maybe a little bit higher than this, and then you can do your transition work here, but we're gonna use the sidebar because we have that. So now you're gonna get down into that bottom position. We're gonna pull ourselves up into this, into the top of the muscle up, seeing the sky, and then we're gonna jump into the dip support. Now the biggest mistake I see people doing with the bar muscle up is that they turn it into a hard chest to bar pull up, but they can't get into that transition. So when you do your chest to bar pull up, you're actually in an extended position of your back, and you pull the bar to your chest. But now we can't get over the bar, okay? It's a little bit different. You're gonna do your kipping pull up just the same way you do, but instead of pulling the bar to your chest, you're gonna be in this extended position, and you're actually just gonna bend your elbows a little bit and start to pull the bar down. Once you pull the bar down, that's when you quickly get into hollow position over the bar and get into that dip position, that dip supported position. So we're gonna keep our back extended. We're gonna be into that bottom position. We're gonna pull into that back extension. And now my elbows are bent a little bit, but I'm pushing down on the bar. I'm gonna dive over the bar, see the ground, and go into dip, okay? So once again, on the ground, okay? And then with the rings, you can start to get a little more dynamic. You can do your pull. Once you start to feel like you have this transition with the rings, you can start to dive over into support. Maybe raise the rings up a little bit. So I would stop there. I would work on that and just do 3 sets of 10. Find out what level you are. Do I need to go slow and steady and just work on that transition? Or do I need to work on a little bit more dynamic and jump? And also you have the rings, you have the bar. I would recommend choosing one and sticking there and just be consistent with that until you get that. And once you get one of them, the other one won't be too hard to get either, okay? So that's our gymnastic work this week. If you have any questions, please reach out with any questions that you have, or if you have any particular issues with the muscle up, or you have no idea where to start, give me a call, give me a text. I'd be glad to help you out, all right? Have a good workout.